today.
You could do like, you know what would be cool actually? They should do the Bang Bros, like the Royd era, like the Barry Bonds, fucking Canseco days. That'd be sick. That'd be dope.
It's the Bash Brothers, not the Bang
The
Brothers.
the Bang Brothers. How much wood could a woodchuck chuck if a wood... What? How much wood could a wood
How much chuck could a wood have?
How much? No, it's how much wood could a woodchuck chuck if a woodchuck could chuck
What is the
wood?
weight of the wood? What
Is it the
measurement of
morning?
wood?
There's an actual answer to this.
Yes?
Yeah. It's a woodchuck wood if a woodchuck could chuck wood.
Oh.
Think about that.
Oh, I thought it was 7.
Yeah. Welcome to the Joystick Show. We got plenty more conundrums to riddle your brain with.
Off to a bad
that
start,
one.
yeah.
Shut up. That's a great start,
Yeah.
Dylan, all right?
Okay.
We got our viewers engaged. They were
Hell
really
yeah.
wondering what a woodchuck would do
If he could chuck
if he
some
could
wood.
chuck some wood.
And he could.
Thanks for watching. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next week. No, for real. Welcome to the Joystick Show. We're here. It's going to be a great episode. It's 207. Oh, thank heaven. We got the whole gang together. Stop laughing already. This is supposed to be professional, Dylan.
But it's a funny podcast.
All right. Make sure to go ahead and subscribe to Team Joystick. Go ahead and like this episode because it helps us greatly. It makes us feel good on the inside and on the outside.
Yeah.
And we're just really happy to have you here. All right. Let's get right into it. Let's talk a lot of stuff. You were missing last week.
Yes, I
It's great to
was.
have you back. We made up a little
Yeah, I caught up on that.
true lie that you were in North Korea.
I was.
doing your...
What do you mean?
Whoa. Shit.
They needed him. It's like, imagine they're like,
Confirmed.
we're trying to get the answers to North Korea.
We got a guy for that.
Yeah.
So we also have a guy who went to somewhere real fucking classified. So if you know, there's a place there's a place in the desert, you know, where the United States may or may not keep extraterrestrial life forms and or equipment belonging to these life forms, right?
Yes.
And we call it Area 51. Now, not many people know that a few miles away from Area 51 is Area 52, okay? And all they keep there is forklifts. But in Area 53, they got some crazy fucking shit, and somebody here went there. So,
Yeah.
what's going on in Area
53 is located in a secret area in Brooklyn, New York.
Crazy.
But no, speaking of its secret area, it was kind of sus to get there. I took an Uber with my girlfriend there, and as the Uber went into this dark alleyway and made a bunch of lefts where it was just nothing but abandoned factories, I was like, is this where I'm gonna get killed?
I know exactly where this is, Joey, and it's train tracks and
Yeah, it's nothing but
industrial-
train tracks, empty industrial factories.
It's like all when you're driving in New Jersey and you see all that industrial shit. We keep that there.
Is it in Brooklyn? Is it
Yeah, it's
Bushwick?
like East Williamsburg, like over there.
Yeah.
Is it like where Johnson Street is? You go to
A bit up from there.
Okay, I think I know what you're talking about.
super. It's like super hidden, but I don't know how long they've been open. It's called Area 53, and it's an indoor arcade, rock climbing,
Trampoline park. I think they have as well.
Yeah, it's a trampoline park, but their main thing that they promote is the paintball experience in New York. So not a lot of people from New York have gone paintballing because most paintball places are like upstate Pennsylvania or somewhere in the woods. Here is like a whole abandoned factory that they put like cars and like a bird's nest and all this other cool stuff, and they just made a paintball arena there. I went because an actor friend of mine, he invited me for his party, and invited my girlfriend, and it was fun to play paintball again after all these years. And we had to buy these jumpsuits. We had these like super bright blue jumpsuits, which made us stand out. It didn't really help us, but our clothes were clean. And we didn't do anything else because it closes at 11, to be honest. I was like, that was really weird. Like for anything to be open in New York, it normally stays up to like at least 1 a.m. They were like, all right, it's 11 o'clock, we're closing everything, get out. And I was like, oh, okay.
Should probably get messy.
Yeah. I mean, I'm just trying to think of like what like midnight paintball looks like. It
midnight paintball, yeah.
Midnight trampolines.
The guy was telling us, it was a young guy that was working the paintball stuff. He says, "Bro, I don't even want to come to work tomorrow." And we were like, "What's up?" And he was like, "Apparently we got like 80 people coming tomorrow to play paintball. A party of 80." And they were like, "What?" And he was like, "Yeah, I have no idea how the fuck we're fitting everyone."
It's a classic 40v40, you know.
He said that the biggest celebrity they had was Ethan Hawke's family or something. They said that him and his friends and family came to do paintball there.
Interesting.
And I was like, "Oh, wow."
It's a really weird name drop. Just like, Ethan Hawke was here. Like,
we can easily get on the phone and probably get like close to rivaling that.
Yeah, you know.
Just call someone and be like, "Hey,
yeah, we got Jerry McDonald on the podcast."
Yo.
We already got a Jerry. We don't need another one.
Nah. But yeah, it was fun to play paintball there. It was a fun experience, and I was like, "Dude, do you guys want to play paintball if we were to go?"
Yeah, I think the closest I've done to that is like laser tag.
Yeah, but this is paintball.
It's a different thing, Jerry.
They
had paintball in the same venue, but we just I know what
you're talking about. You're talking about the one by LIC by LaGuardia that used to be open. I played paintball there once too. My uncle shot me in the ass. I'll never forget it because there's like this protocol where you get shot, you raise your hand, and that's like cue for everyone to know like, oh, you're out, and you just like walk out. So I think I got shot like somewhere in the chest or the helmet or something like that. I was like, oh, I got tagged. So I put my hand up, and as I'm walking away, my Uncle Johnny like purposefully just shoots a paintball like right. It was like right above the ass, that little meaty part of the lower back, and I literally went like I jumped up, and I was like on the verge of tears. I was like, oh fuck, and I was like, why did you do it? And he was like, you just needed to know how it felt. I was like, what kind of sadistic shit is that?
I know how it felt because my hand was up.
Yeah, I was following the fucking rules, man.
I feel bad. I was telling Nicole, I said the first time I played paintball, I was about maybe 13, and a bunch of like Jornada people invited my dad and I up in Pennsylvania. And there was a guy that we didn't know. He was this guy with this bald guy, and he was laying down like in the trenches in the forest. We were in the forest, and I saw him. And young me completely forgot the rule, don't shoot people in the head. But like his like it was shining. Like I saw it right there, and I aimed, and I was impressed with myself. I managed to hit him directly in the head.
You're an awful person, Joey.
But I didn't realize after he was like, fuck, and I was like slowly putting my gun down like, oh, I shot him right in the head. I shot him right in the head. I'm sorry.
He's a fucking splat on his head now.
He did. It was like a perfect splat on the head, and I felt really bad after.
Fucking ow.
Yeah, and you know how a paintball feels. Just imagine it like
on your
right on the neck. Chrome.
Jeez. But yeah, I'm down. We can go shoot each other with paint.
Yeah.
Sounds fun.
Nicole walked in. It looks like full of moss because of all the paint colors. And she's like, I feel like I'm in The Last of Us or something. She didn't want to be by herself. She was just following next to me. So I just have like another person all in blue just like shuffling next to me. But yeah, she was getting hurt. She was like, ow, motherfucker, that hurt. I was like, put your hand up. You're going to get shot more. You're going to get shot more if your hand does not go up.
But that's all they had at Area 53? They didn't have any...
I didn't get to experience anything else, but they had an arcade there.
But that's all they had? They didn't have anything secretive?
Green or translucent?
Nothing.
No, I think they had like some heads that were frozen in the corner, but I didn't really look at it.
I think that's the curling. I don't think
that's normal Brooklyn.
That's ice hockey, yeah.
How big was the arcade?
It was large. To be honest, I think it was just large. There's not a lot of games. I think it was just spacious. That's what it was. It was very
Those
spacious.
places never have big arcades. If you want to go to, you have to go to like an actual arc. You have to go to like first whatever. This place.
Round one.
Round one.
Is that what it's called?
We still got to go to that.
Yeah, I was gonna say first draft.
We should actually go to round one. Though.
I'm actually down. I've seen a lot of people on my Instagram post.
They have one that's like an actual like airsoft gun. And then it's like target practice and games with the airsoft gun.
Lit. Yeah. I'll be John Wick. Ting.
John Dick.
Yeah.
That's pretty sick.
I got something I can talk about. Some movie I watched today.
John Dick?
Yeah. I watched a movie that I've been actually very excited to watch. A documentary that just came out featuring Will Ferrell and his friend Harper Steele.
Oh, yeah.
The documentary is called Will and Harper, and the synopsis of it, to be very brief, is... it's about Will Ferrell and his good friend Harper Steele, who formerly went by Andrew Steele, who after the pandemic decided they were going to transition to live as a woman. After the transition, Will offers Harper the opportunity to go on a countrywide road trip where they basically do a lot of the things that she used to do pre-transition to see how she feels in these environments as her new self and see if she can be comfortable with it and stuff like that.
Okay.
As soon as I saw this trailer, I knew it was destined for greatness, which is kind of funny because you see Will Ferrell and something like that and you're like, really? But there was just something about it. Like just from the minute and a half I saw in that trailer, I was like, this is going to be great. Needless to say, it was one of the best documentaries I've ever watched. It was incredibly impactful. I was reading an article that was talking about, I think, a good reason why the documentary is so impactful is because Will Ferrell, his entire career, has played these like oafish characters, right? Like these bizarre, larger than life, just ridiculous baby characters.
Kind of also just stupid as well.
That's the point.
Like not self-aware,
to see him
very out of
serious.
touch.
So to see Will Ferrell in a very real human side, like, it's very refreshing. And right off the bat, I'll say this documentary just made me fall in love with friendship, with my country, and of course with comedy, because like that's really where these people met. Harper, formerly known as Andrew, used to be one of the head, in fact he was the head writer of SNL before he transitioned. And Will got hired the same week that he was hired to be a writer. So now that she's transitioned, it's basically like a way for both of them to get into this new period of their friendship where like Will has to figure out what he can talk to her about, and she wants him to know that since they're best friends, he can ask her anything that he wants. So needless to say, it was a very, very well made documentary from beginning to end. The places that they go, the things they do, littered with tons of special guests from like the SNL days and fellow comedians and stuff like that. And it's very like real. Like there's a lot of moments, to spoil a couple. There's at one point they end up in, I think, Iowa. And that's like where he's from. Oh no, I'm sorry, it's not Iowa, it's Oklahoma. Harper is from Iowa, but they go to Oklahoma. And what I didn't know going into the documentary is the reason why Will offered her the opportunity to go on the road trip is apparently when she was a man, that's like all they would do. They would just go driving around the country. Apparently he loved hanging out in like truck stops and dive bars. And like all the comedians joke that Andrew's thing was he just liked to be in like the worst places, but to meet these people and stuff like that. So it's kind of interesting now, considering she's a woman, those places are quote unquote like scary to be in for women or whatever. So that's like a big part of it too. So they go to Oklahoma and they end up in like this really seedy dive bar. But her thing is she wants to try to experience something without Will. Like she just wants to go in by herself. Because obviously having a man, and of course having a man who's famous is a big help. So it's a really interesting thing where at first she walks in and she's getting stares from people. There's fuck Biden flags and pro-Trump flags. The Confederate flag is on the wall. And then finally there's like an older woman who like calls her over and they have like a discussion. And finally she calls Will and she's like, hey, why don't you come in? And Will comes in and they have like a big group discussion. But it's just one of those moments where like the people who you look at as being these super hicks, like super small town hicks, are also just like really accepting, and they just want to learn more about her and see what her whole thing is. And then similarly, right after that, there's a scene where they go to Texas and they pass by a billboard for like a Texas steakhouse that has an eating challenge where they give you a free 72-ounce steak if you can eat it in an hour. So as a joke, like Harper's like, I bet you could do it. So he's like, fuck it, let's go. Tonight we're going to go eat at this steak restaurant. So Will does this whole joke routine where he gets dressed up as Sherlock Holmes from the Sherlock Holmes movie. Okay. And he's like, hi, I'm Sherlock Holmes, everybody. And he like sits down. And there's the thing at the beginning where like, he didn't know this, but when you do the challenge, the person like announces it to everybody in the restaurant. And they're like, what do you want your name to be? And he's like, Sherlock Holmes. And they're like, what about you? And she's like, Miss Harper Steele. And when the waiter says it, he says Sherlock Holmes and Harper, like he stutters a little bit, and then he says Miss Harper Steele. But by that point, like everybody's eyes are on them, and it really turns into like a fishbowl moment where they're just in the middle of the restaurant and people have their phones out and are taking pictures.
Will
and videos.
Ferrell dressed as Sherlock Holmes with a trans person and a camera crew
in Texas.
There's on an iPad, E3. Like it's
so there's phones everywhere. Crazy. They're taking pictures. They're taking videos, and then the documentary goes from that to the aftermath of that, where they're showing all of the tweets and social media posts people made about it that are very anti-trans, like very hurtful towards her, towards Will, and all that whole spiel. But the reason I bring it up is because directly after that sequence is a part where Will like they're driving back from that like the next day, and he breaks down. Like, he's like, I can't believe like I put you through that. That was never my intention. I feel horrible. But they have like a really nice heart-to-heart conversation where she assures him like, listen, I know you didn't do it intentionally, and it's gonna happen. It's fine. But like, you're my friend, and it's all cool, whatever. But it was really interesting to see like Will Ferrell break down like that. And I read an interview after I watched the movie where apparently that was like the one scene that he really regretted from the film. Obviously, he didn't know that it was going to turn into that. But his whole spiel was he wanted her to feel comfortable throughout the whole journey. Needless to say, if there's one thing I got from this movie that I may not have known about Will Ferrell, considering he's one of my favorite comedy actors of all time, he's a fucking homie. You'd be lucky to have a best friend like Will Ferrell.
I don't know if I ever doubted that. Some people I might have their doubts.
Don't get me wrong. I've heard things about like he can be standoffish in public, like he might not be the nicest guy or whatever. But I guess if you're his friend, he's gonna make sure that you're taken care of, you know. And that's what I saw, and I was like, that's fucking awesome. So to wrap it up with a nice bow, it would be ridiculous to give this movie anything less than a 10 out of 10.
Damn.
And
where can you watch this?
It's on Netflix. It came out Friday. And to give you perspective, I would actually be genuinely surprised if it didn't win Oscar for Best Documentary. So nice. I think Will Ferrell's going to be getting his first Oscar pretty soon. Ooh. Fantastic movie.
Yay.
Would recommend it to absolutely anybody. I know some people might be on the fence with the whole woke agenda and stuff like that, but at the heart of it, it's really just a friendship movie, and that's why it's so fucking special. So, shout-outs to that, shout-outs to love, shout-outs to the jokes, and shout-outs to America. Like, fucking 53% of this country is pretty rad. Pretty rad. The other 47, though? I don't know about you guys.
Said during that whole Sherlock steak eating scene, did anyone publicly say anything to Harper, or was this all just like internet blowing up?
No, it was the internet. In typical fashion, it's like after the fact. Yeah. No one has the balls to say it in front of their face. I was one interesting thing that actually does happen earlier in the movie, because they have like this whole checklist of things. Like I mentioned, it's things that she used to like to do pre-transition that she wants to try to get back into. And most of the stuff is predominantly like seen by males, so like stock car races, steakhouse eating, fireworks, all that stuff. So early on in the movie, they go to an Indiana Pacers game and they sit courtside. It's like a whole thing. So it's her trying to, you know, get over it and the heebie-jeebies and shit. But there's a part at the end where Will and Harper start talking to like this guy in a business suit, and they're like asking them like what the trip's about, blah blah blah. And you can see like Harper's confused. And Harper's like, who was that? And even Will's like, I think that's the governor of Indiana. And they're just both like, oh, okay. And she's like, really? So she like looks it up, and then they both make a face, and they're like, oh. And then after that, it cuts to like them back on the road, and it's just like news footage of that governor like banning like all these trans laws. He's like super anti-trans essentially. And then when you go back and watch the footage, like when Will introduces her, he's like visibly uncomfortable. Like he's like, oh yeah, you know, like that. But she's like, you know, Harper's a really chill woman. She's just there, like, you know, just trying to be herself. But end of the day, awesome fucking movie. Loved it.
I gotta check it out.
Would never expected something like that to come from Will Ferrell of all people. But
when you showed us the trailer, it was kind of like, Will Ferrell, like he was doing something like this.
Listen, comedy and drama come very close. They're intertwined. They're like that.
When you film it like a documentary, now Bobby, you have to catch up on the sequel to that documentary, the second most popular documentary this week, and that is the Aaron Hernandez story.
Well, it's not a documentary.
Yes.
It's an anthology series.
Yes.
Are you going to talk about this?
I want to finish it or like watch it fully first before I talk.
I wanted to explain that whole like the show.
Yeah.
I've been getting into like anthology series. I just think they're really dope. So first and foremost, I didn't know that the American Horror Story guys are the people behind that.
Yes, yeah.
And I also didn't know that they're behind American Crime Story, which I also didn't know was a thing. So like to give you perspective, like American Horror Story is like, you know, like a big thing, and then every season is like Freak Show or
it's
Coven or some shit like that, right? So they did American Crime Story, but they never called it American Crime Story. Or even if they did, they didn't advertise it as such. They just advertised it as the seasons that came.
Exactly.
So I just thought that like when they made the assassination of Versace, that it was just like a one standalone thing, or the trial of OJ. But in actuality, these are seasons of a show called American Crime Story. And now they're doing American Sports Story.
Yes.
And the first one is Aaron Hernandez. So.
They really just like throw an American and then something.
I'm not mad about it. It's pretty cool.
I mean, it's good for
American love story.
And then I found out that the same guy, I'm pretty sure, that like works on those shows is the guy who did the Dahmer series for Netflix,
Yes.
Monster. And Monster is also going to be an anthology crime series for Netflix.
Yeah.
So the second season just came out about the Menendez brothers. And the third season is already like in pre-production, and it's going to be about Ed Gein, the Chainsaw Massacre guy that was...
Leatherface, all that.
Interesting.
But yeah, those shows are fucking juicy.
Yeah, honestly, I'd much rather have 8 of those for every one Netflix dating show. Completely, especially someone who watches like a lot of YouTube true crime and like all those shows. Like, this is completely fine with me.
Let me ask you this: as a sports fanatic, what do you think deserves a season of American Sports Story? Like, what stories, what athletes?
I think that we need to do like anything that's like a controversy.
Yeah, I was thinking maybe like Tiger.
Like Tiger's a big one. Deflategate,
Ray Lewis, maybe
anything.
They already did football though. So
So
they're gonna stray away from football for sure.
Is there any like basketball thing? Like LeBron leaving, like they did the hour fucking thing.
Maybe like Ron Artest or something.
Maybe it'd be. Wasn't there a huge fight in a basketball game?
Malice at the Palace.
Yeah, but
I can't see them doing a whole like
there was
anthology about it. Yeah, that was
people have done that.
The reason it works for Aaron Hernandez is because he was a short-lived good athlete who then became a murderer. So like that's kind of the whole.
He got
spiel.
arrested like during the week they were like playing. Like, and that's what made it so crazy. So I don't know. I feel like they would not go murder.
Lesser known, maybe Oscar Pistorius.
Oh, I like that. I'm trying to think of like, did anyone in any other sports do something? I'm a baseball guy. I would love for them to do like some baseball shit from back in the day.
You could do like, you know what would be cool actually? They should do the Bang Bros, like the Royd era, like the Barry Bonds, fucking Canseco days. That'd be sick. That'd be dope.
It's the Bash Brothers, not the Bang
The best
Brothers.
of the Bang Brothers. Guys, I wasn't watching anything earlier, okay?
Stop, bro. Stop, bro. Stop. Wait, honestly,
are you watching this all by yourself? You ever see the meme where it's like the screen of the girl who says that it turns around and it's like 12 dudes in a room? Like,
the homies. What I do, like, there's a lot of baseball nonsense that I think, like a good, like, I know that, like, there's a bunch of Ricky documentaries, but a documentary on Ricky would be cool. The 1980s Mets were amazing, and the 1990s Mets were, like, criminals. So it'd be cool. So, like, the 1980s Mets were super, like, they did a bunch of drugs, but they won games, so it was okay, right? But then what happens when you start losing is when things go to chaos. Yeah. And in like, there was like a year-long span where the Mets, I believe, there were multiple fights in the clubhouse. One of their players at the away team stadium threw fireworks into a crowd of children.
Okay.
And then one of the Mets pitchers filled a squirt bottle, like a water gun with bleach and shot it at a reporter.
Cool.
Wow. This was all within like a few months. So something about that.
So you want this movie made?
Yeah. And so when people don't like the Mets, I'm like, oh, and then the Yankees won like 4 straight World Series. It's like, oh yeah, I
get it.
I would kind of, I don't know how I feel about the.
I say we film it and we call it The Amazing Mets. It's like all, it's super fucking ironic, and then they watch it and they're like, these guys suck.
These guys are trash.
Fire.
I'd want them to go the Deadliest Warrior route and just put all the stats of like Babe Ruth and all the stats of like Michael Jordan, and then make them fight with their sports equipment.
Babe Ruth and Michael Jordan in a fight.
Yeah.
Fucking Michael Jordan would just step on them. I feel like you just have to push him. Like, you just push Babe Ruth.
But Babe Ruth has a bat.
Babe Ruth
it doesn't matter. He's fucking...
Babe Ruth would lose.
First of all,
Babe Ruth is
dead.
No, if we did this, literally is how the fight goes. I almost said Michael Jackson. Michael Jordan walks up to Babe Ruth. Babe Ruth is on a seat. He turns around and goes, I forfeit.
Yeah. And then the Bang Bros come out.
And they're like, where are we shoving this?
Yeah, exactly.
Can we
the parody?
Yeah, it's like we're baseball players and we're really famous and we're like 2 teammates with the Bang Bros. It's like...
Oh, shit. I like it.
Oh, shit. Shit.
Be like that.
Yeah.
Anyone else got anything else to talk about?
The horrible fucking Knicks trade.
Yeah, what?
It's just I don't. Why are you upset on the podcast, bro?
Wait, what happened?
So the horrible. Not horrible, but the leaves a bad taste in your mouth. The Knicks trade with Karl Anthony Towns.
What's Dylan's? Let me before we get into this, I want to set this up for Joe. So, okay, hold on. I know you don't understand like a lot of sports and stuff like that, but I'm gonna bring you up to speed. Okay.
Okay.
Let's just imagine, for all sakes and purposes, I think the exact example I used last night was the Teen Titans. Okay. Let's say the Teen Titans are a basketball team.
All right.
But for all sakes and purposes, they're not playing for the same team right now. Like, Robin's playing in New Jersey and Cyborg's in, like, fucking Philly or whatever, right?
Okay.
So at one point, they get... This is so nerdy. They get Robin, Starfire, Raven, and Beast Boy together, but they don't have Cyborg, right? Okay. Cyborg's over in Philly. They're like, we need to get this guy. Okay. So they drop a shit ton of money.
Well, he's in Brooklyn, but yeah.
Well, he's in Brooklyn, but whatever. Yeah. Which is also why I'm upset. And they take Cyborg, and finally... the Teen Titans are back together. Okay. But the season hasn't started. So they're practicing. They're practicing together. They're training. They're like, oh boy, we haven't been fighting crime together in forever.
Yeah.
And then right before the season starts, they're like, oh, we're gonna get rid of Raven, and they're gonna ship her off to like fucking South Carolina. So they went through all this work to put the team together.
Put the team together just to get one person.
Exactly.
Oh.
So now that you're up to speed for the most part, Dylan, what is your opinion on this trade?
Dante DiVincenzo acting like he was like, I didn't really want to be part of it anyway.
Yeah,
that's because because he's like the least MVP worthy of the group.
Actually, I feel like you can make a case for Josh Hart.
Josh Hart has a podcast. He's a legend.
I love Josh Hart. I'm just saying, it's really Jalen and McHale that
only had 19 rebounds in the playoffs in one game for no reason. Yeah. But I don't know how to feel about it.
Well, let me ask you another question. As someone who currently has Karl Anthony Towns on our most unliked list for Team Joystick.
Yeah, he's staying on there.
Really?
He has to earn my love.
Even though he's representing our state now?
Karl Anthony Towns is the worst basketball player who's ever played. You will see, Bobby, you'll be watching a Knicks game with your dad or something.
I would argue that's Ben Simmons, actually.
You will. Ben Simmons was good at one point and now
is
sucks.
He the worst?
They're both New York players.
Yes.
Who's the best worst New York player?
So Cat is the best worst and Ben is the worst best. I think it's the opposite way around.
Yeah, it is.
Cat is the worst best, and Ben is the best worst. Yeah. There we go.
Because Karl Anthony Towns has the stats.
Yeah.
He'll put up 30 points and 10 rebounds, and he'll look terrible doing it.
Gotcha.
He will not.
Yeah.
He will not look good.
But I wasn't too upset to see Julius Randle go. I kind of figured that was
They were
happen.
trying to trade him for the longest time.
I could smell that miles away.
Yeah.
Not to mention they kind of got through the majority of last season without him, so it's kind of like evident.
Trying to get a deal for him.
Exactly. And don't get me wrong, Julius Randle's an important player, so like that was good. That was a good piece to have, we could get somebody good for him. And don't get me wrong, I see why they sent Dante to get somebody like Cat, but still when I read that I was like, bro, you're going to fucking take McHale and again for clarification, the cyborg, so to speak, that they took played for the Brooklyn Nets, and he was like our best player. And then nope, he went to go play with his best friends. That I also can't be mad about. It'd be like if we all played basketball and you three played for the Knicks, and I'm just on the Nets like, man, I want to fucking play with my boys. Yeah, so that's kind of the spiel. But I was also gonna say shout outs to what's his name? Is it Shams? Hope I'm not mispronouncing it, but he's essentially the new Waj.
Oh, He's known as the guy who would get stuff wrong.
Oh, really?
When Woj would get stuff right.
Shams Charania?
Yeah.
Charania, I believe?
Yeah. He's like a...
So now I know to only believe 25% of what this guy said.
Like his whole thing was that they'd both break something and he'd have the wrong intel.
Gotcha. And speaking of, I'm going to miss Waj. It's rough. Oof. Again, to connect you into the sports world, we had this man named what's his Adrian Wojnarowski, nicknamed Woj.
Woj.
What's the best way to explain it? This guy just knew everything about sports.
Yeah. So imagine having a phone number and it had every GM, scout, etc.
This guy just knew everybody.
And he just knew the news.
Everyone. If LeBron was being traded to like the New York Knicks, he would find out before LeBron James, and he'd be like the guy to go on the internet and be like, "This Justin, LeBron is gonna be," so. And he's announced his retirement a couple of days ago. So there's like a whole thing where people are like, "Where are we gonna get our drops now?" Now we got to get those numbers.
Well, look what happened. Everyone was fucking surprised today.
Yeah,
we would have known since yesterday. Like, oh, there's a trade, Minnesota. Who's getting traded? Is it Anthony? Is it Jalen McDaniels?
It's just these shock drops now.
The
fucking
intel guy.
All the work is gone.
We're the new Waj.
I don't know anyone.
We use your connections, bro.
My aunt who works.
Yeah, it works for
This guy.
Guys, I got the new news. Adam Silver ate at Sweet Green. He got a chicken chipotle salad. Fuck yeah, let's go.
That'd be incredible. Just Adam Silver, like, what did he do today?
You see him, like, hunched over the salad.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, like, the news, bro. It's like, that's stalking.
That's great. Speaking of sports and documentaries, another one came out on Netflix that I'm getting ready to watch. I feel weird talking about it considering I haven't started it yet. But it's Mr. McMahon, the Vince McMahon documentary.
I saw that. I was surprised that he got something. But it's
it's not in good light.
It's not in good light. Yeah.
It's not like praise Vince McMahon. It's more like
that's the thing about a documentary.
It's more like how is this guy the chairman of the WWE?
There's always a spin, and the spin is not. I don't know how you would spin him well, but you're not spinning him.
I was trying to explain it to like Mildred because she didn't know who he was. I was like, he's like the chairman of the WWE at one point, but then he like became part of the WWE and just had a shit ton of storylines written about him. I was explaining how like he got his entire family to be part of it. And apparently, again, I haven't started it yet. I only watched the trailer and that's what kind of sucked me into it. I don't even know if it's come out yet, but it's there's a part in it where his daughter basically is explaining that like she agreed to do some stuff in the ring as part of like the promotional side of the WWE. But like as time went on, her own father would like have her do like more uncomfortable and even sexually suggestive stuff. And it's like, bruh, like at some point it's like the money's not worth it, man.
Right. You're sexualizing your daughter for the money. It was like,
and like not even shamelessly either. Like you're gonna wear this. You're gonna
wear this.
We're poor. We need money.
You're gonna bend down on the center of the ring.
Want to do it? He's like, it's in the script. Turn the page 28. Naked woman in a well. It's right there. Like,
arguably more embarrassing is he made his son fucking wrestle under the name Shane O'Mac. That's like that'd be the worst gimmick I've ever seen.
And his like storyline was that he was the son of Vince McMahon. Yeah. His intro song was money, money, money.
I remember this guy.
He would come in with like sunglasses, kick shit over.
He was like the frat boy.
Yeah, I remember this. He was in the video games. I remember this one. I always found him cringy.
Yeah, because it was written by his dad.
Because he's Vince McMahon's son, pretty much.
I like when Vince McMahon, he like jumped into the ring and he like tore his like ass muscle and he just stood sitting down. Like he was trying to seem intimidating, but he couldn't stand up. So they were like, come up, get up, motherfucker. And he's sitting there like...
He goes, I've seen that before. It's like he jumps in the ring or something and he accidentally tears his quads. So he can't stand up. So it's like he's trying to stand up. So he's like kneeling down. He's like, but you can tell this guy's in like massive pain.
He's holding it, dude. I want to watch it now.
I'll never forget. It's like a really like random memory, but in talking about Vince McMahon, it reminded me. I've told this story about like how I didn't know about wrestling and he died. And I was like, what the fuck? But I remember I had a kid in school who like, we all had that kid in school who like had fucking 1,000 wrestling action figures.
Oh yeah.
They'd have like the ring and all that
belts,
stuff.
You had everything.
And keep in mind, we were just as young, so you didn't really bash him for it. You were like, oh cool, it's his thing, I guess.
That's his thing.
But I remember he had a Vince McMahon action figure. And he would always like, suplex with it. Mm-hmm. And like 9-year-old me was like, who the fuck needs that? I was like, seriously, like he's not even
doing your taxes. He's like doing
Vince McMahon is signing the contract. Oh yeah.
Subjugating woman. Take off.
I just signed a major deal. Boss. But I get what you mean. Like no kid is like, yeah, I want that figure. That figure was made just for a collector.
No, that kid wanted it. That kid loved it.
Yeah, who's your favorite wrestler? The commissioner.
Who was your favorite wrestler, Dylan?
My favorite wrestler?
Who was your favorite wrestler?
Probably Rey Mysterio, honestly. I mean, I'm sure I had like some other deep cut guys.
619.
But yeah, I mean, any of the good guys were definitely. John Cena was a classic American hero.
Classic.
Yeah, you can't.
You couldn't see him.
Man.
Yeah, impossible.
I feel like, what's crazy? I feel like back in the day, I was more into wrestling compared to now. But is wrestling bigger now or was it bigger back then?
I think it was bigger back then.
It's bigger back then.
Yeah, it was.
It's hard to explain. It's almost like it's been the same, but what wrestling felt like and meant in like the 90s and early 2000s is very different from what it was now.
Yeah.
To the point where, and this is coming from someone who, with no disrespect to the WWE, has never been into wrestling. Like, I can say there was definitely like an era. What do they call it? Like the Attitude Era or some shit like back then. Right. Like, it was entertainment. It was very entertaining.
In. Like, you tune in to watch football. You tune in to watch men in tights fight.
The storylines and all that stuff.
Yeah, I remember we used to have we had a handbook that had like all the wrestlers in it and shit.
You had a handbook?
Yeah. Because Andy was more into like wrestling than I was. Mm-hmm. So like we had the game and we had the handbook and shit.
How did you get into wrestling? I'm trying to figure out how I even got into it.
My friends would like fake wrestle and shit and like the bed and stuff, and like I was like, Fido the Frosted Flakes. No Diddy, But,
what the fuck did Puff just say?
But no, I mean all my friends liked it. I had a friend, he like owned like every single belt. So he had like the Intercontinental belt, he had all those, so like that's how I got into it. And then like I'd say like 4th or 5th grade I like wasn't interested in it anymore. Maybe 6th grade, I don't know, but at a certain age I was like, this is stupid.
What the fuck was I into when everybody else was into wrestling?
You were playing Ratchet and Clank.
Yeah.
Nah, Joey got it. It was Magic. It was all Magic. Magic is definitely what it was.
I got into wrestling.
He nailed it.
No, I'm imagining in my head Bobby, he's doing magic, but to himself, and he's impressed. Is
this your card?
Whoa, that's not my card.
I'm shuffling the deck, but I got a whole walkout and shit. I'm like, he's the Magic Man.
Is this
there magician wrestling
card?
Whatchamacallit. I had an uncle that was really into wrestling, and when he found out that I was into wrestling, he was like, you want to watch it? I got it right now. I was like, yeah, sure. And I would sit and watch it.
No, I don't. No, I don't.
Yeah.
I saw a cool video online of it's weird now because we're obviously getting older. It happens with age. But I saw a video of a guy who brought his son to like his grandpa's house. But the son is probably like closer in age to our age, so his like the grandson is like like 5 years old, and then the grandpa is probably like in his early 50s, or like even younger, maybe like late 40s. But the grandpa has like a huge collection of like wrestling toys that he had, and that even like his son had. So apparently like he surprised his grandson. He's like, "Hey, come over," and when the grandson comes over, he has no joke like 200 figures just like laid out, and the kid is like. But it's mad cute because grandpa's like, they're all yours, pal, and the kid's like, thank you. Like, imagine how sick that would be. You're 5 and you just get like 200 action figures. Like, yes, please, thank you.
That's wild.
Got stories for days.
I got one more thing to say about this wrestling thing. I remember playing the games a lot, and I remember like it must have been like 2005 or 2006 WWE. There was like in the story mode mission, you defended. Like this girl was getting like picked on or like flirted with by another wrestler, and like you fight that wrestler and she thanks you by like bringing you into her shower room. And I remember like 10-year-old me was like, oh.
Joe was like, oh.
Yeah, I was like looking like the door. Exactly, yeah. But what made me think about it just now was that, bro, this is a real woman. It's not like a fake woman. They got her likeness to be in the game. And she sleeps with your character. Like, did they have to go to her and talk to her about it? Like, all right, so we're putting your likeness into the game. Just sign here. And you're gonna protagonist of this game, and the protagonist of the game, you're gonna sleep with him.
Yeah.
So like, you're gonna sleep with every young man that bought this game. You're basically going to sleep with him in the shower.
Please sign the dotted line that says you're going to be a video game harlot. Thank you very much.
I just imagine that it took like 80 takes. She's like, come wrestle this. They're like, cut! Just fucked it up! Just say, come into the shower room. Come into the bathroom with me.
Buttery, flaky crust.
I love that video.
Man. Isn't wrestling, like, it's free this month, right? You play? You got it. You were
the game.
Yeah,
the game.
Yeah, it's free this month. The rest, the newest.
Jerry's like,
yeah, not the programming. That shit is expensive,
I was about to say. I was like, wrestling's free.
It's the Cody Rhodes one, the American Dream, right? American Dream.
Let's all download it and fight each other.
I get confused because he's the American Nightmare, but then his dad was the American Dream. Forgot that. Dusty Rhodes, that's his name. Something.
Yeah.
Yo, Bob, let's all download this new WWE game, make our own wrestler, and let's fight each other.
Classic.
That sounds fun.
You are not ready.
For the diddlers. Mr. Diddles.
No.
He's got 2 watches on because it's always time to diddle. All right. It's now time for song recommendations of the week. It's what it's called. Put it right there. It's actually the jam and bam and slam of the week. It's not what I just said it was. Would anybody like to go first?
I have. Oh my gosh, I'm just gonna pick whatever I have. Here's my song, fucking "Get a Clue" by Simon and Milo. Heard that shit on Disney Channel once, and that shit's been stuck in my head.
Cool. My fake jam of the week, the one that's not the real one, Joke's on you guys. I wanted to shout it out. Jerry knows what I'm talking about. Yesterday when Jerry, Jose, and I hung out, we found out that Daft Punk sampled a different song for Harder, Better, Faster, Stronger, and it's called Cola Bottle Baby by Edwin Birdsong. It's a jam. It's funky, but it's not jam of the week. The actual jam of the week is going to Curiosity by Hello Yello. Band from Oakland. They're pretty cool. I feel like Dylan will be into it. I'll play some of it later, but that's the jam.
Nice. My yam of the week is Karaoke by Smallpools. I only know this band because they're in like every other FIFA game. And I'm like, they don't exist in any other. They don't tour.
Just the FIFA.
The FIFA.
They have millions of listens, a month or whatever.
Only in FIFA.
But they're only in FIFA.
Do they have a live concert in FIFA like Fortnite?
I wish.
That'd be cool.
Yeah. The music plays when I trade my players. Yeah.
All right, my song of the week is you ever. So I don't know if you guys do this where like you just like a million songs on Spotify and you don't put them in a playlist.
Yeah, I mean,
and so you never find them and you're like, fuck.
You have to go on shuffle and light and hope it comes on. Yeah,
so much work. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I found this song in here. It's a J. Cole song. It's from the off season. It's called 100 Mil, and it's featuring Boss. Yeah, pretty chill song. I think it was popular like a couple of years ago.
You said it's featuring who?
Boss.
Rootin'?
Stupid.
The MMA fighter?
Yeah, bro.
J. Cole, I'm here, man. I'm here to rap on the microphone, my man.
Bob Ross.
I just watched Here Comes the Boom, so I got a fresh Boss Rootin' impression ready to go. It's getting twisty, man,
That sounds like a Doom.
You ever seen Here Comes the Boom? It's the Kevin James MMA movie.
Kevin James. Oh,
Here
wow.
Comes the Boom. Oh, I thought you were talking about this kid and his dad.
Oh no, not Doom and Boom, guys. The original fucking.
Yeah.
Here comes.
You guys know what I'm talking about, right?
Yes.
Here Comes the Boom.
It was like a boxing MMA.
Okay, I'm just making sure. It's an important movie to
after
me.
The Zookeeper, after Pixels.
It means a lot to me. Okay.
I don't think I've ever seen that movie.
What? Here Comes the Boom.
Is that what we're watching?
Joey, check underneath your seat.
Nah, it's Kevin James. Hey,
my fucking wife.
It's Boss Rootin'. What's up, man? I'm here on the Joystick Show.
Does it have that DMX song in it?
No, it has the POD one. The boom! Here comes the boom.
Yeah, that's what it was.
Ready or not,
bro? How can
here comes the boys from the enough of these stupid fucking songs. Fuck. Thank you for watching the Joystick Show.
My jam of the week is Youth of a Nation.
Shut up. POD. My jam of the week is Toxicity by System of a Down. Thanks for joining us. We really appreciate you for stopping by to watch episode 207. Oh, thank heaven of the Joystick Show. Dylan didn't laugh that time. I thought it would work again.
I chuckled.
We really appreciate you coming out to hang out with us while we review movies, talk about Area 53, and wrestle live on the podcast because that's what we did. If you want to leave a suggestion for something you want us to discuss on next episodes of the podcast, fucking don't. You have no say in that, all right? We decide what we want to talk about, and you're just subject to it. So, but if you want to say like what your favorite color is, go ahead and drop that in the comments.
Yeah, we'll listen to your favorite color.
Mine is pink. Thanks for joining. Go ahead and like the episode if you felt like it. Go ahead and subscribe to Team Joystick. And without further ado, make sure to go ahead and pre-order Dylan's EP, Tears of a Nation. It'll be dropping in Borders bookstores on next Friday, right?
It's actually in Pier 1 Imports.
No, it's Pier 1 Imports, Borders, and Circuit City, yeah. I'm pretty sure. So stay tuned for that.
And Mamas and Bananas.
Yep, and Mamas and Bananas. Tears of a Nation. Here's the box art for that. All right, peace out.